What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, what I want to talk to you about is how to develop militant like discipline. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I see a whole bunch of people that make videos online that talk about developing focus and discipline and building resilience and stuff like that. And a lot of the times they reference monks, but I don't think people realize how much our military does in order to build discipline and to build resilience and to build a mindset that cannot be cracked. So that's what I want to talk about in today's video. I have some notes here, so you're going to see me looking down occasionally to reference my notes because I want to make sure that I'm staying on point. But yeah, that's it. So I hope, stick around to the end and hopefully you take something away from this video that you can implement in your life. So the first thing you need to understand when it comes to trying to develop militant like discipline is you have to have clearly defined goals and objectives for your life. If you look at people in the military, they usually have some type of goal that they're all working towards, whether it be protect our country or be prepared for war or self-defense, whatever it might be, they have some type of objective that they're working towards as a collective. And in life, if you want to get far, you have to set goals because goals are basically the things that you use to measure your outcome, right? That's how you can know if you're moving towards the right direction. If you know that you've determined this thing will make you successful and you don't have a goal created for it, then how are you going to track if you're moving forward? But you don't only need goals. See, the military also has something that's way more sophisticated than just goals themselves. They have a system that they put every single soldier through so that they can accomplish the goals that the military has for them. And this is something that's already predetermined. It's already predefined because it's something that was created years and years and years ago. So the way that they're able to accomplish these goals is by having systems. So you don't simply only need goals, you need a system. So once you figure out and you've identified to yourself what it is that you want to accomplish, then you have to figure out how are you going to get there. And the steps to figuring out how you're going to get there is a system that you're going to have to build and put in place in order to get where you want to go in life. So that's the first thing. The other thing I should mention about this as well is that, you'll see the military soldiers do things like, physical training, and they have structured schedules, right? So like they might wake up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning because maybe they're using it as a competitive advantage. They're being strategic. They know that if they wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, that most people are likely going to be asleep and they are the only ones that's going to be awake. So they have less distractions and they're creating a condition that will help them thrive and succeed. And I'm really a big advocate of environment design because I think if you want to succeed in life, you have to create the conditions in order to foster it. Like it's or to foster growth. So like it's one thing to be it's one thing to want to succeed, right? It's one thing to have discipline, but it's another thing. It becomes way easier when you create the conditions for which you can be disciplined, right? And I'll give you a personal example. So the last 2 years, well, not the last 2 years, I'd say let's say roughly 2 years ago, like the last 2 years, I guess. How do I want to say this? Prior to me getting injured and having to take a break from working out, I had a system for myself. I had a personal trainer that I hired who would come to my luxury apartment building, who would work out with me at 4 o'clock in the morning. Actually, it wasn't 4 o'clock in the morning, it was 6 o'clock in the morning. What I would do is, so this was my routine. I would wake up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning. First, I'd take my dog out for hour 30-minute walk. Then after I take my dog out for an hour 30-minute walk, my personal trainer would meet me at my apartment. We'd go work out in my gym. I do this every single day. After training with him, I'd go back home. I'd walk my dog. I used to walk my dog 6 hours a day. I don't walk him at that much anymore, but I still walk him a lot. But I don't walk him 6 hours a day. Sometimes it was even more. Sometimes it'd be like 8 hours a day. I used to walk my dog a lot, like a lot. And I would do this every single day, and it was just a routine for me. And I got used to just doing this, and as a result, I was able to drop over 40 pounds. Now I have gained some weight back because I haven't been working out, I would say, for like almost a year now at this point, because I got injured, and my injury was nothing to do with the gym. It wasn't anything on my personal trainer. It was something completely different. But either way, like, this is why I had to stop. And now I'm getting back into it, right? So now I'm doing boxing all the time. I'm jump roping in the morning. I'm walking my dog like 5 hours a day now. The reason why I was able to lose so much weight and also be in the best shape that I have been in a long time when I was doing what I was doing before was because I created the conditions for me to not fail, right? So I hired a personal trainer who would actually come to my apartment and work out with me at my apartment because I knew that I didn't like going to the gym. I don't like going to the gym, right? But I also knew that I needed someone to hold me accountable. So I created that, we had a system every day at this specific time. Okay. Also, I forgot to mention that I was also doing MMA at the same time with that too. So I would go walk my dog for 6 hours a day, and then I would also do MMA, and that's why I was just shedding weight. And then when you combine that also with the fact that I changed I completely switched my diet at the time, and because I created the conditions for me to do this, that's why I started losing weight. So a lot of you guys that was watching me when I would get on live, you guys would comment like, "Oh my God, you lost weight." It was because I had a system in place to accomplish that, right? If you go look at my videos from like a year or 2 years ago, you'll see that I was slimmer than I am right now, and I was slimmer I was more in shape and more fit than I was prior to that time frame, right? So you need to have a routine. You need to have something that you stick to. Okay. The next thing is accountability. So you have a much higher success rate if you have someone that's holding you accountable to accomplishing your goals than trying to accomplish your goals by yourself. So same thing in that example that I gave you earlier with my personal trainer, same thing applies. Not only did it help because he came and I created conditions for me to succeed, but also because he was holding me accountable. So he would call me in the morning and make sure I was up so that we could get our workout in, right? But also, like, this is what people in the military do. They are in cohorts of, groups of people in order that are working towards the same goal. And because they're in groups and they're working towards the same goal, it heightens the chance of them being able to succeed. So if you're not in some type of group that holds you accountable, you're going to have a lower likelihood of being able to accomplish what you want to accomplish. So, like, these two things you really have to pay attention to, right? But then also you have to be able to develop mental toughness, because as things get harder and as challenges occur, you're going to want to quit. And the reality of the situation is that if you just focus on going to the gym, to be honest, you'll develop mental toughness. But if you focus on going to the gym and also doing some sort of activity like boxing, you'll build up mental toughness. But also if you read books, right? Because reading books allows you to sit down and focus for a long, concentrated period of time. And most people can't do that in today's day and age. And so that's what you could use as your competitive advantage, because focus can be a skill. It doesn't have to be a trait that's innate within you. It could be something that you notice as you lose focus, you notice, and then you recalibrate yourself to focus back on the goal, right? And if I can focus, anyone can focus, because I have ADHD, so there's no excuse. Even though I will say that people with ADHD have a higher chance of being able to hyper focus on things that they actually care about, right? The next thing is paying attention to detail. So you have to be able to travel. I mean, first of all, the military, they pay attention to detail all the time, right? And I don't know why I said the word travel, but the military pays attention to detail all the time. If you actually pay attention to what they do, the way they dress, the way they carry themselves, their uniform, but not just that, who is allowed into the military, that's all attention to detail, right? Not everyone can get in with them. And it's the same thing in your personal life. You need to pay attention to the people that you're hanging around. You need to pay attention to the habits that these people have, and you need to determine if this or if these people, if these groups of people are influencing your life in a positive way, making your life harder, or influencing your life in a negative way. Like if you don't understand that, then ultimately, you know, you're not going to be able to get as far as someone else who does. And if you want to start a business and be an entrepreneur, you need to be able to be focused, and you need to eliminate all distractions. Remember, you have to be able to build up that environmental design that we spoke about earlier, right? The next thing is being physically fit. Being physically fit, obviously it makes you feel better, but ultimately it goes back to what I was saying about mental toughness. The more fit you are, the more you do things that are hard, the easier it is to do everything else. Because if you focus on becoming mentally fit, not mentally, if you focus on becoming physically fit, it's way easier to succeed, because everything else in your day is going to feel easier. And it's just something that you have to do in order to experience, to understand how it feels, right? When you knock off 40 pounds of weight and you worked hard to you worked consistently hard to accomplish that goal, there's no better feeling, right? But it also kind of like primes you, because of the positive stimuli that you get, or stimulus that you get from accomplishing that. Not stimulus. It primes the positive stimulus that you get from that to make you want to continue to do it, right? It sends these signals to your brain that feel good, and ultimately you start to realize that you're conquering a different beast, and you're becoming a whole different person. And now you're not allowing your ego, like the ego that exists within you, to prevent you from having growth. And a lot of the times what we need to realize is that this stuff is just as much of a spiritual battle as with ourselves as it is a mental and physical battle, right? It's a spiritual battle, because that which tries to stop you from moving towards the greater version of yourself is always going to have the most resistance. Like if you know that, like, for example, I like to write. I don't like to write, but I write all the time now. The reason why I write all the time is because I realized that the reason why I didn't like to write was dumb. And there's a lot of benefits to me writing. And the ego is just trying to stop me from growing, because the ego is afraid of what I can become. It's almost like experiencing a breakup with someone. Like when you want to let someone go and they don't want you to go, they're going to try everything in their power and in their control to keep you where you are, even if it's not good for you, right? So you need to be able to look past that and, develop yourself and be able to move on. And that's why I say it's like a spiritual battle too. But it's something that the military has conquered all too well, because they've created the one thing that you'll notice that I constantly say in this video and throughout this video is that they have created the conditions in order to succeed, right? So your environment is everything, and not just your environment when you walk outside. I'm talking about your environment that you are creating for yourself, even within your own house, even within your own apartment. The things that you have in your apartment is what can dictate your whether you're distracted or not. And sure, it's easier to not watch TV, right? Like people sure, it's easier to get rid of the TV instead of just having a TV and then fighting hard to not watch it. And the thing is that that's what you want though, right? Like you don't want to have something in there that's going to challenge you and make it harder, because eventually when you break the habit of watching TV, it won't be a habit anymore. So even if you do get a TV, you're not going to just sit down and watch TV. I don't watch TV like that, right? Because I just don't, right? So like it works to my benefit. And then you need to basically have the art of self-control. And I think developing the art of self-control can come in multiple forms. The one thing that I feel like helped me with self-control was being celibate for a long time. And I think if you implement that into your life too, you'll be able to receive the same benefits, because it forces you to have to focus on the things that actually matter. And it forces you to be controlled, which means that the relationships that you build with the opposite sex do not have any sort of like transaction attached to it. Like you're not talking to someone because you want to do anything with them. You're just talking to them because you genuinely want to get to know them. And that can help you, because that can help you build your network, and that can help you access things that you never thought imaginable. And sometimes it's just good to have the opinion of those people. Like sometimes those thoughts can be very valuable when you're trying to learn something, right? It's like so I think that's one aspect, but then also being able to stick with your routine, go to the gym, eat right, stuff like that. You know, if you focus on doing that, you'll build up the habits after you do it for about 60 days or so, and it'll be easier. Your life will be easier, and you'll be more aligned with where you want, who you want to become. Because when you actually dedicate yourself to doing these things, the world becomes your library. It moves all of the distractions out of your way. Right? It's something about it that I just can't explain. It removes all of the distractions out of your way, and then it helps you by pointing you in the right direction and making sure that you're going down the path that you've already chosen in your mind that you were going to go down. Right? So that's very, very important. And then you have to be able to embrace discomfort. So just like and with the art of the self control thing, I mean, you see the militant soldiers, what they do. They wake up and they have this strict routine, this strict schedule, and they stick onto it. So you just know that, you know, if they're doing it and they're in the most disciplined uh, line of work possible, then maybe it's something that you should do too, right? Um, and then embracing discomfort comes from also having self control, discipline, and stuff like that. But putting yourself in environments that make you uncomfortable. Go for a 20-mile jog, right? Like that's hard. It's gonna make you feel uncomfortable, and it's never gonna feel easier. But when you accomplish it, you'll realize that you can do anything, and you'll realize that all you had to do was talk to yourself in your mind to push through to accomplish the goal, right? So like this is how you develop discipline. And who better to follow than the military, right? So that's all I wanted to say in this video, and that was how I was able to lose weight. I'm about to start doing it again, and I'm gonna lose weight again because I feel confident that I know what to do because I already did it. And yeah, that's it. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.